And we are back with the fifth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Allergies are really killing me now. And in this fifth segment, we're going to talk about the Australian team who, well, they recently just announced their new addition to the basketball team that they have for the Olympics. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly try and pull this up because and to just give on the to explain who the active players on this roster are. So the active players that were, let me see, hold on, because there were recently players that were announced, because I have the whole active roster on my screen right here, but there were just recently a bunch of there was recently an announcement on who exactly was going to be who just got announced, and I can't really find them now. I don't know exactly. I don't know where I put it. I had this on my phone, and now here it is. Okay. Found it. So they're called the Australian Boomers, which is a very funny name. If you guys if you know Boomers and who they are, it's a funny name. I I apologize for laughing, but that name is funny. I just can't. So there were a group of players cut from 22 down to 17 ahead of the selection camp at the end of June. So we all everyone knew that was coming. So let's see. Let me just go ahead and figure out exactly who were. So the locks on the players that are going to be on the team are Josh Giddey. Again, you guys know I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm not even going to explain anything. I'm just going to let that go. Next is Jock Landale. So Landale's value was he played in the World Cup, and he obviously he wasn't there, and the struggles were evident. He was there, but he wasn't really there, if that makes sense. So whether it be not having a consistent option, or being a rim protector short, or just general size up front to compete with opposing bigs, there was always a problem. So Landale is going to be the starting center and one of the primary options on both ends of the floor, and one of the program's leaders. There's also some optimism on how Landale is played in the back end of his season with the Houston Rockets, seeing around 20 minutes a night and producing in wins over March and April. Then there's also Josh Green, who's on the roster. Green, he worked his way into the starting lineup as the World Cup progressed, and he's Gorjan's preferred. He's Gorjan's preferred option to start in one of those wing spots next to Josh Giddey. Excuse me for that. And a theme that you'll notice in the analysis is that the team of the World Cup is likely to be largely unchanged from the Olympics. So the teams that play in the FIBA World Cup, the starting lineup, it's really going to be the exact same for the Olympic team, more likely than not. And there's also going to be another fan favorite of mine that's going to be on this on the Australia team is Dante Exum. So the early feel is that Exum is going to go into camp with a starting spot to lose. And the improved shooting that he showed on the Mavericks, he was a very, very good shooter. He shot 49% from the three, and it was only 2 shot attempts, but that is a very, very efficient clip to hit at least 1 3 a game. That is a very efficient shot. And there's also Matisse Thybulle, who's going to be on Team USA. Again, not Team USA. Why do I keep saying Team USA? I mean to say the Australian team, excuse me. And the World Cup was a tournament to forget for Thybulle. Thybulle did not play very well in the tournament, whatsoever. He wasn't that guy. He wasn't it. And the shooting remains his swing skill, but he's coming off of another reasonable season from beyond the 3-point line. He shot 34% on 3.6 attempts in a game. And another fan favorite for the Australian team is Patty Mills. So despite despite having his least prominent and least productive NBA season in the decade, Patty Mills, he's a totally different player when he plays on Australia. Like, I kid you not, he goes from role player to straight stud on the Australian team. And part of that has to do with his system and the fact that he's been playing with these guys since he was so young. I mean, but his role completely changes when he's on the Australian team. And it's amazing how often it does. Like, it's crazy to me. So, unlike what we've seen over the last few major tournament campaigns, there's an expectation that his role will be different, and potentially him being coming off the bench, which is surprising to me because it's like he's usually like the number one option for the Australian team, and I'm very surprised that he's not a number one option, but like a very solid option, and I'm very surprised that they're going to put him to a bench role in this series, in this Olympics. But one of the things that like kind of also has me bummed out is how Kyrie Irving cannot play for the Australian team. Now, if you guys don't know, he played for Team USA before. Therefore, playing for Team USA, you cannot play for any other national team. So he needed to start out playing for the Australian team if he wanted to play for Australia. And I'm very surprised that he chose to play. I mean, granted, I'm not that surprised he chose Team USA because, you know, that's an easy gold medal and that cements your legacy immediately. But it would have been pretty cool to see. Imagine if we would have seen him on this Australian roster. I mean, I guarantee you he would have 100% have been selected. Even with all of his like off the court antics or like whatever the reason being like for why he wasn't selected, he would most definitely be selected for this Australian team if he would have played for the Australian team before. Because quite frankly, I'm kind of upset that he isn't on Team USA. Like, for some reason, Halliburton and Anthony Edwards are taking that spot. Now, no disrespect to Anthony Edwards or Halliburton, they are great guards, but over Kyrie Irving? Like, really? The guy has a gold medal, for crying out loud. He's played for Team USA before, so why didn't they bother trying to get him back on the roster? Would it be because of like his connection with Kevin Durant and his relationship with LeBron? I don't know why he wasn't chosen, but I mean, like, it really makes me think, like, Kyrie on Australia, like, the Australian team, it wouldn't matter what kind of shenanigans Kyrie pulls off the court, Australia would still back him, and Australia would still have his back. But Team USA, on the other hand, not so much. Remember, they removed him from the top 75 list all because of the things that he said off the court, and they gave it to Dane. Remember that, because Kyrie should have been top 75. Should have been top 75, but he wasn't because of all the yapping that he did off the court. But and then aside from Team Australia, there's also the NBA the J. Walter Kennedy Citizenship Award. It is a year-by-year award it is honored and named after the NBA's second commissioner and is presented annually by the PBWA to a player, a coach, or an athletic trainer who shows outstanding service and dedication to the community. And this year, it was CJ McCollum that ended up winning this award. Very, very nice guy. Similar to how Damian Lillard won this award in 2018-2019. Now CJ wins the award. And for those of you who are curious, Steph Curry, he won the award last year. And then in the previous 2 years, there was a pandemic. So there was no way to have anyone win that award since there was really nothing to give to the community since we were all just locked up. But it really just shows like how good of a person you are if you end up winning this award. Like, you put things above yourself. You put other things above yourself. That's essentially what this award is. Now, whether it be for show or whether it be like from the goodness of their heart, that is completely different. But he ends up winning it. Great guy. Really hope he has a great tenure on the Pelicans, and find some sort of success, because success, being nice, it's going to be rewarded with success. Like, I mean, eventually. At least I think what goes around comes around. I feel like we all can agree on something like that. So with that, that's the end of the 5th segment, and therefore that is the end of the show. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show. Leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. As usual, remember to use the link in the description to get your comments recognized, or the link displayed below the ticker on every single show segment, and makes the show much more interactive between myself and you guys. That is all I have for you guys in this 5th segment and on this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, Nelson, and as always, take care.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to